In the NFL, disaster rarely arrives with a warning. One year, a team looks like a contender. The next, they're trapped in salary cap hell, searching for answers at quarterback and wondering where everything went wrong. The scary part is that most collapses don't happen overnight, they happen slowly. A key player gets older, a superstar gets injured, a front office makes a few bad decisions. Then suddenly, the foundation starts cracking. And by the time fans realize what's happening, it's already too late. Today, we're looking at 10 NFL teams that may be heading toward disaster. Some are still winning games. Some are already showing signs of trouble. But all of them have major issues that could explode in the coming years. Let's get started. Kansas City Chiefs. For over a decade, the Kansas City Chiefs have been the team every franchise wanted to become. They had the best quarterback in football, one of the greatest tight ends ever, and a dynasty that seemed unstoppable. But for the first time in years, there are serious reasons to worry. The biggest concerns is Patrick Mahomes. After suffering a devastating ACL and LCL injury, Mahomes is expected to return in 2026. But NFL history has shown that recovering from major injuries is never guaranteed. Some players come back stronger. Others never fully regain what made them special. The Chiefs learned a painful lesson last season. Without Mahomes, their offense looked completely different. Then there's Travis Kelce. For years, Kelce has been the engine of Kansas City's passing attack. But after more than a decade of punishment in the NFL, age is beginning to catch up. The production is still there, the intelligence is still there. But the dominance isn't what it once was. Kansas City added Kenneth Walker to help take pressure off the offense, but that doesn't solve the long-term problem. Eventually, the Chiefs must prepare for life after Kelce and potentially a less mobile Mahomes. And when that day arrives, maintaining this dynasty could become nearly impossible. The Miami Dolphins, thought they had finally found their franchise quarterback. They tanked, they rebuilt. They invested everything into Tua Tagovailoa. Now he's gone. Miami's decision to move on from Tua came with one of the largest salary cap hits imaginable, creating massive financial problems before the season even started. But quarterback isn't their only issue. Not even close. The organization entered 2026 with a new general manager and a new head coach. The offensive line remains a concern. The receiving core lacks elite depth. The defense continues searching for consistency. And outside of Devon Akane, there aren't many players opposing teams truly fear. The Dolphins also face one of the toughest schedules in football. That's a recipe for disaster, a new regime, a flawed roster, limited flexibility, and a brutal path ahead. Miami could be entering another cycle of disappointment. Just when fans thought the future was finally bright, New Orleans Saints. The Saints have a problem. Actually, they have several. The biggest issue is that they don't seem willing to admit it. For years, New Orleans has tried to remain competitive instead of committing to a full rebuild. The result? A roster stuck between two different timelines. Alvin Kamara remains one of the most talented running backs in football, but he's no longer the young superstar he once was. The Saints brought in Travis Etienne Jr. to reduce Kamara's workload, which tells you everything you need to know. Meanwhile, Chris Olave and Jordan Tyson represent a younger generation of talent. Then there's quarterback Tyler Shuff. At 26 years old, he's still trying to prove he's the answer, and that's where things become dangerous. The Saints have veterans leaving their prime, young players entering theirs, and a quarterback who remains a giant question mark. Nothing about this roster feels aligned, unless everything breaks perfectly. New Orleans may find itself stuck in NFL purgatory for years. Indianapolis Colts. Few teams have more uncertainty than the Indianapolis Colts. Their quarterback situation alone should terrify fans. Daniel Jones suffered a torn Achilles and faces a difficult recovery. Even if he returns, there are no guarantees he'll perform at the same level. Then there's Anthony Richardson. The former first-round pick was once viewed as the future of the franchise. Now it feels like the organization has completely lost faith in him. Things became so desperate that Indianapolis turned to a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. That should tell you everything. Jonathan Taylor remains one of the league's best running backs, But injuries have repeatedly interrupted his career. Defensively, the Colts continue struggling to establish themselves among the NFL's elite units. Could Indianapolis make the playoffs? Sure. But when your quarterback room creates more questions than answers, disaster is never far away. Arizona Cardinals. If NFL franchises had a history of heartbreak rankings, Arizona would be near the top. Since returning to the desert, playoff appearances have been incredibly rare. And now the Cardinals appear headed toward another rebuild. The organization moved on from Kyler Murray and absorbed a massive cap hit in the process. That decision alone created enormous pressure. Now Arizona enters the future without a proven franchise quarterback. Marvin Harrison Jr. is talented. Trey McBride is talented. Jeremiah Love is talented. But talent doesn't matter much if nobody can consistently get them the football. That's the problem. The Cardinals have exciting pieces, they just don't have a clear direction. And without direction, rebuilds can become disasters very quickly. Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills have dominated the AFC East for years. They've won division titles. They've produced MVP-level football. They've built one of the NFL's most complete rosters, but they've never reached the Super Bowl. And time is running out. For years, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs stood in Buffalo's way. Then Mahomes got hurt. The path finally opened, and the Bills still couldn't take advantage. Instead, their season ended with another painful playoff exit. Now the AFC is becoming even tougher. The Broncos are rising. The Patriots are improving. Young contenders are emerging everywhere. Josh Allen remains elite, but championship windows don't stay open forever. If Buffalo doesn't win soon, difficult decisions are coming. And once those decisions begin, the Bills could find themselves entering a painful transition period. Tennessee Titans. The Titans have spent years rebuilding. Unfortunately, they may still be years away. Back-to-back seasons ending with 3-14 records tell the story. Second-year quarterback Cam Ward showed flashes of potential. His numbers were respectable. His development was encouraging. But one player can't fix an entire franchise. Tennessee still lacks talent throughout the roster. The defense remains inconsistent. The offensive weapons are average. And while Calvin Ridley and Robinson provide some excitement, this isn't exactly a receiver room that scares defensive coordinators. The good news? Cam Ward may be the answer. The bad news? Everything else still needs work. And that's why Tennessee's rebuild could take much longer than fans hope. Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have been one of the NFL's model organizations. Multiple Super Bowl appearances, championship success, consistent playoff runs, and an incredible ability to reload instead of rebuild. But eventually, every contender faces difficult choices. Philadelphia is approaching that moment. Jalen Hurts remains one of football's best quarterbacks. However, he's entering the stage of his career where wear and tear starts becoming a concern. He's also extremely expensive, and his next contract could be even larger. Meanwhile, uncertainty continues surrounding A.J. Brown's future. The Eagles have navigated major transitions before. Moving on from Carson Wentz worked, hiring Nick Sirianni worked. Everything seemed to work, but NFL history shows that lightning rarely strikes twice. At some point, roster turnover catches up to everyone, and Philadelphia may be closer to that reality than most fans realize. Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are facing one of the most important quarterback decisions in football: J.J. McCarthy, Kyler Murray. One of them must become the future. Because if neither works out, Minnesota's entire foundation could collapse. Quarterback uncertainty is only part of the problem. The roster is aging. Aaron Jones is entering his 30s. T.J. Hawkinson is approaching the later stages of his prime. Justin Jefferson remains elite, but even stars eventually become expensive veterans. Jordan Addison offers long-term hope, but beyond him, questions are beginning to pile up. The Vikings should remain competitive for the next couple of seasons. After that, a major rebuild may be unavoidable. Dallas Cowboys. And finally, the Dallas Cowboys. Every year, expectations are sky high. Every year, the pressure grows. And every year, the same concerns keep returning. Dak Prescott is entering his 11th NFL season. He's now in his 30s. He's battled injuries. And he's one of the highest paid players in football. Then there's CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys committed huge money to keep him. While that's understandable, it further tightens an already difficult salary cap situation. Dallas now faces a dangerous balancing act, paying stars, fixing the offensive line, improving the defense, and building enough depth to compete for championships. That's easier said than done. The offensive line has struggled, the defense has major questions, and salary cap limitations continue restricting flexibility. The Cowboys still have talent, plenty of it, but talent alone doesn't guarantee success. If Dallas can't solve these issues soon, America's team could be heading toward a very painful future. So those are 10 NFL teams that could be heading toward disaster. Some are already showing warning signs, others still have time to change course. But in the NFL, fortunes can change faster than anyone expects. Which team do you think is closest to a complete collapse? And which team on this list do you think will prove everyone wrong? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more NFL content every single day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.